Stan.
Hancock, and I'm Vice President in the Mid-Atlantic region of the National Lawyers Guild. And I'm one member of an 8-member delegation that just returned from Pakistan. We were in Pakistan for 3 weeks, and we returned about 2 weeks ago. So I'm basically going to talk a little bit about the lawyers' movement and where it stands today. And that starts with the March 9th, 2007, when the Chief Justice, as we all know, basically Musharraf basically sacked the Chief Justice. The lawyers, with civil society members, joined in protesting this action and was actually successful in reinstating the Chief Justice in July of that year. Now, why this is important is that historically the judiciary in Pakistan was aligned with the military political establishment. And the judiciary in the past year, with the help of the lawyers, acted as a check to unlimited executive power. I think that's very important here. And while we were there, we learned several issues that played into the lawyers' movement. And the lawyers basically cited 4 main cases that gave rise to their movement. One was a Supreme Court case with the decision staying the privatization of a state-owned steel mill. 2 was a series of cases requiring hearings on the missing persons cases. You'll see a documentary on this. 3 was the actual reinstatement of the Chief Justice. And 4 was the petition challenging Musharraf's place to run as president in October of 2007. Now let's fast forward to November 3rd, 2007. As we all know, Musharraf held the Constitution in abeyance and suspended several fundamental rights. With that, on November 3rd and 4th, the Pakistani military swept in and arrested, beat, and illegally detained thousands of lawyers. I think the U.S. press say around 3,000. I think our numbers are closer to about 8,000 lawyers and civil society members ended up being arrested during this time. Some, like Munir Malik, was forcibly drugged and, as you know, almost died as a result of his drugging.
Pakistan is a wonderful people. Since freedom came at midnight about 61 years ago, they've lived, with comparatively brief exceptions, under military law and military government. And more than any other single factor, or perhaps all other factors combined, that explains their current plight. They've had brilliant people in every walk of life, including political life. And I can't think of anything else that I agree with George H.W. Bush on except this. He said the most brilliant international public figure I have met is Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Bhutto was a uniquely gregarious and loving man. He came over here to go to school at Berkeley and ran for the student body. Waged, they say out there, one of the more interesting student campaigns that they'd seen. His skin was a little too dark, I think, for him to win at that time. But his mind was sharper than anybody else's there, probably. He came home to Pakistan, which was India at the time, and plunged into public service. He came from a wealthy landowning family. He worked in the government, and after independence, so-called, he worked on the first and best constitution that has been devised for the Pakistani situation to this date. It hadn't had much chance to operate because the generals haven't paid a lot of attention to it. But he worked his way up and became minister, and then was elected prime minister. And his political strategies were unique. He relied on the great leader Jinnah for secular government. He sought accommodation with India because it was a big neighbor and they lived together and were going to have to live together even though they'd separated in más o menos politically.